So guys, today I want us to have a candid conversation, and this is in regards to retirement and why it is very important to plan for it. So one thing I can tell you for sure is that majority of the business people don't really take retirement so seriously. And this is because when you have your own business, you think back in your mind that, well, if because there's no one who would dismiss me, I can work up to maybe 65, 70 years, yeah? But sometimes you will find that the body can tell you, no, take me home, I want to rest. So that is why I want us to have this kind of discussion. And basically retirement means that you are ready to spend some money which you had saved up for a certain period of time. Yeah, so the money that really saves you is the money you either invested or you saved up for that particular time. And I'll tell you this: for those people who are employed, the majority of them have this kind of a false comfort that, well, my employer has taken care of that. But I can tell you, you might be shocked if you asked your HR how much he or she thinks you will retire with. And that is one thing I want to urge you to go and do. Ask him how much you expect to get at the time of retirement if everything remains constant. Yeah. So I want us to look retirement from these two angles, for those people who are employed and those people who have their own businesses. So it is very, very easy for persons who are not employed to create a better and bigger basket for their retirement, unlike those people who are employed. And I'm talking this from a point of employment side. I'm also employed. So what I will tell you is this: the people who are employed are limited, because when you get the employment, most likely you find that you have no child, you have no spouse. So the first thing you think of is, because now I'm employed, let me start off the family. So within 1 year, you invite someone over, you start up the family. In the next 2-3 years, you have 1 or 2 children, and that diminishes how much you would possibly invest or save, understanding that the money or the employer does not add you or increase your salary based on your responsibility. Yeah. So what you'll find, to those people who are employed, you will see kind of similar pattern. Yeah, that you start working and immediately you start spending, and you will leave very little or no savings for even retirement, because you think, well, my employer has put something for me. But you will be shocked. That is why I've asked you to go sit down with your HR. So why it is very important to start immediately you get employed is that you get used to it, so that even when the family is coming in, you've already conditioned your mind that, well, this is part of my spending. And a simple thing, what you can do is you can set up something very small, something you possibly will be putting maybe 2,000, 3,000 shillings per month. And by the time you are exiting, after possibly 30, 40 years, you will have accumulated something. So my advice is, if you're employed, start immediately you get employed, because that one will stick in your mind. Yeah. For those people who are not employed, you have a better chance to accumulate some amount of money, because either way, yeah, whether you are employed or not, at one point you will go, or you will have to rest, or take yourself back home, yeah, where you will need some money to spend. And that is why it is very, very important. So I look at it from this. Sometimes it is wise to look at the future, yeah, or to look at the end at this time. I want to give you a simple scenario. if, because you can retire anytime, yeah, sometimes we retire from our own will, other times we are forced by the circumstance. Now I want to give you a very simple example. If you're employed and you become sick, the next thing your employer does is he looks for a replacement. But what happens is when you are home alone, of course what you spend is what you had saved up. So if you become either sick or disabled or even you are terminated, of course we know that's an experiment of how retirement tastes like. So why it is very important is because if you check at how much your employer puts out or puts up for you for the purpose of retirement or pension, you will discover it's not enough. And it's just that the government have now came up with something called the NSSF Tier 2, which is revamping how much is put for you for pension or retirement. Yeah. So why it's very important to look at the future? It's because the future is very, very expensive. Let me give you a very simple example. If you are employed and let's say you earn 80,000, if you are at home, most likely you would spend half or 3/4. Even if you were to spend half of the money, let's say 40,000 per month, that basically means that for 1 year you would require 480,000 to spend maybe on food and basic necessities. So if it's retirement, assuming now we are looking at retirement, let's say you are spending just 40,000, and if you survive for 20 years, it would require you to have at least 9.6 million. The biggest question is, do you think by the time you are retiring, your employer will have put that kind of amount? Yeah. So for those who are not employed, it's a challenge to you so that you can start thinking of retirement. Yeah. And you can start off whether you are employed or not employed. I want to tell you what you can do to accumulate that kind of money of what the employer is putting aside for you. So you just need to set up something we call individual pension plan or individual pension fund. This is one account that if you're employed, you can it can help you to kind of complement what your employer puts for you, but this is on an individual basis. If you are not employed, or if you are a business owner, you can also set up an IPP or individual pension plan, and the minimum amount you can start with basically is just 500 shillings. And if I can tell you, if you are to put just 5,000 every month for the next like 30 years, earning an average return of 11%, you'll have saved about 1.8 million. Yes, 1.8. The much you'll have accumulated in terms of interest is about 10 million if you're just doing 5,000. So by the time you are hitting maybe 60, if you are 30 today, you would have a tentative figure of 12 to 14 million, depending with the institution that is helping you with this kind of scheme. Yeah. So you do not have to wait until the time has run out too fast. You just need to tell me or to ask me how you can start up the journey, because it's very, very easy, and I can tell you that individual pension plan can also help you consolidate all the past pensions you had, possibly before you left your job, or maybe you did a transfer, you resigned an institution that had previously a pension scheme. That same IPP can help you recall all those pension funds, and you can be able to track it and see the performance possibly on monthly basis. So with that, guys, I want us to have this conversation in another episode, and I hope you have learned something different.